Hi guys, welcome to the antivirus special edition, episode 4 of Roll with the Fox. We're live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. All right, so we have Enrique here. Enrique has a special announcement. He's announced a $500 bounty on Joshua Johnson. So if you don't know what that's about, check out yesterday's episode closer to the end. Joshua repeatedly asked, is there a way to yank out your arm from that same side arm lock? The answer is no. Enrique had to take his sling off today. Just kidding, guys. So let's get right back to it, guys. We're gonna look at things. I'm gonna continue the lesson on arm locks for the next 10 minutes. So yesterday we were talking about angles, grips, fulcrum. Most people think of the fulcrum of their hips, and follow. All right. So I want to go over two sort of non-traditional arm locks, and please start asking questions as it is, guys, because what I'm envisioning is we're going to go first. I'm going to go over the arm locks, hopefully answer some questions, and then we're going to go into general other techniques. All right, so let's look at it. So this technique was shown to me by Renzo Gracie, probably, I'm assuming, at least 20 years ago. All right, so when you're doing omoplata, right, and your guy kind of just creates a distance, and if I try to sit up right now, it's not going to work too well for me because he's too square. My leg is going to slip off. All right? So when we see this, what I'm going to do is bring my shin down. Now, there's two versions. This is the one that Rodrigo showed me. Okay? The way I do it, this is a little, I changed it up probably the last couple of years. I bring my leg over because this prevents him from that rolling, and you have a strong finish. So the interesting part is that this arm lock helps you when you omoplataing somebody. Hey, is that a word? We're inventing words as we speak. So when you attacking somebody with an omoplata and they decide to kind of just go perpendicular to you and create an angle to, for you to start moving, and then they slip out. This is a perfect follow-up on that. So again, then we go into the topic of follow-up. The second thing that's very interesting is most people don't know because the elbow is outside the hips. So the fulcrum is your shin, basically. It's no longer sort of your hips, but you try to manage that angle between your shin and your inner thigh. Okay, and that's where the other leg comes in. The other leg comes in to make sure that the guy cannot, have unlimited mobility. His mobility is fairly limited. So let's look at it again. Once you start playing with it, guys, I'd be very careful because you think you don't have it, so don't go balls to the wall trying to finish, because you may think that you don't have it and it's kicking on. But the key to this is to keep that shin as low and as parallel to the floor as possible. And I'm actually putting tension in there. So let's look at the setup again. So I'm attacking omoplata. Now I bring this down. This is what I'm looking for. So once I decide to go for this, I bring this down. I'm actually pushing down on Enrique's shoulder. And now, again, there's a couple of different ways to do this. This is fairly simple. I personally prefer, if I can't reach all the way, I will weave through. Tap. All right? So the finish is, his elbow is actually outside my hips. I don't know if you can see it. I hope so. All right? And tap. All right? One more time. So attacking. Tap. Perfect. All right, so that's one. Guys, if you want to see additional details on omoplata, Feras and I did a recently video on omoplata. It's on YouTube. It's free. There is another part that's on jujiclub.com that's paid for, but you can just check out the free part. There's probably 25 minutes discussion of Omoplata. And guys, the Jiu-Jitsu community is coming together very, very strongly. A lot of guys are offering their videos that normally would be paid for free. Guys are filming daily, or sometimes not daily, weekly, or whatever they can do tutorials. So take advantage of that, guys. I'm a big believer in visualization and visual absorption. John Danaher just put his solo drills on BJJ Fanatics out for free. So guys, take advantage of that, because this is stuff that you can do at home even when you're homebound. And I do believe that a lot of people will, maybe binge watch Jiu-Jitsu for the next 2 weeks. And believe it or not, their game will actually get better from doing this, even though they're not actually training. All right, so let's look at another sort of follow-up on sort of an arm lock. And UDE GATAME, to me, is a form of an arm lock. It's just upside down, all right? So one of my favorite things is when I attack a kimura, all right? I don't try to force it, because even if I go 2-on-1, sometimes when the guy decides that he's going to take it away from me, strong guy can actually take it away from me even though it's 2-on-1. A lot of times people spend, especially if you go to ultra heavy divisions, Kimura and Americana are very, very popular submissions, probably the #1 submission in the ultra heavy divisions. And when somebody, Kimura's the guy from their guard, and a big guy decides to straighten out their arm, they're spending too much time fighting to bend it, and it's not happening. So what we just do is tap, leave it straight, and we apply the pressure to the elbow instead of to the shoulder. So we talked about that yesterday in episode 3. That if the guy defends his elbow, you switch it to the shoulder. If he defends his shoulder, you switch the attack to the elbow. So let's look at how this concept can be applied to an attack, UDE GATAME attack, and staying with it, okay? So I'm going for UDE GATAME on Enrique, and one of the things that guys do is in response, and this is actually a good response, is they're trying to create motion, because he's straightening out his arm, which he believes is going to help him escape. So I just stay on it, all right? Roll up through, make sure I confirm my base. So my hips sink in, my knees go wide to have a good base. I grab his wrist with my right hand. And guys, if you could see Enrique's face, which you probably can. Right now, Enrique is very relaxed because we're doing this thing just sort of nice and easy. But the minute you bring in the elbow in, your training partners, the whole body tenses up because they know now it's for real. Tap. All right? So I'm a big fan of the straight Americana, especially if I attack it and the guy straightens it out, because he believes he's going to be able to twist. So we make sure that they cannot twist. Again, one of the big important concepts we discussed, I don't know if it's episode 1 or episode 2. Guys, now I'm referring to the antivirus edition, which is on a daily basis, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, which is different from our regular episodes, which are once a month, first Friday of every month, again, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So I think in episode 2 or 3, we discussed the idea of using your head. And so we're applying a couple of the concepts from the last couple of episodes. So I'm using my head to isolate the arm. All right, Enrique decides he's going to roll, treats the threat very seriously. I'm using my head right now, not just to post, but also to flare out his arm. I'm looking for 45-degree angle. I'm going to let it slip to my wrist, which is already waiting. I connect figure 4, and then I bring this in. Tap. Okay? So let's look at it one more time. Guys, this is actually one of my favorite and one of the fairly frequently hit submissions or follow-ups of the guy defending the UDE GATAME, which is upside down arm lock. So I use my head, he rolls through, my head on the floor, grab the wrist, and then bring your left elbow in, and you have a very strong submission. So, guys, I hope that sort of gives you a couple additional, not just techniques, but concepts to work with. All right, guys, as you watch these episodes, don't just pay attention to the specific techniques, but also the concepts that we're discussing, so that way you can apply those to your specific style of game. Mike, do we have questions on this?
Michael J. Miller from Facebook asks, do you feel conceptually that your arm locks are beneficial to your body type? I see that you have long limbs, mine are short.
Not necessarily. There's advantages of body types for certain things. Usually longer limb guys have, will have better triangles than shorter limb guys. I usually recommend my students that have shorter limbs, if they decide to attack a triangle and it's not tight enough to switch to an arm lock. I'm going to go over that in a second. It's a very good idea. People think there's a perfect body for jiu-jitsu. There is no such thing. Like if a guy with short, let's call it muscular legs, attacks versus, if he actually closes a triangle, it's done. There's no gaps. A guy that's 6'5", 180 pounds closes a triangle, there's big gaps, so he needs to make sure that he can close them effectively. All right? So let's look at that idea of, how do we use, if you have shorter legs, a lot of guys, there's all different kinds of builds and so forth, and every one of them comes with some advantages, some disadvantages, all right? So I hit a triangle in Enrique, and I have short legs, and Enrique starts to try to escape to posture up. What I'll do is just switch into an arm lock. All right? I'm pretty sure anybody can do that, so even if your legs are shorter relative to your training partner, and this doesn't necessarily have to be just the case when you have shorter legs. You might have, you might be average build, which I don't know, could be, it depends on which country and where, but, if you have an average build, or even longer, and the guy is just a broad monster, you may not be able to lock up the triangle properly. So if you go down that path, think about hitting him, switching to an arm lock, which anybody can do. Again, guys, this is the concept of attacking in combinations. When you attack, and it works the same for defense. There's a pattern of how people react to your attack or your defense. So don't just think of attack or defense, but think how do usually your training partners take that away from you, okay? And then take advantage of their defense. So counter to a counter. All right, let's look at that triangle to arm lock real quick. Oh shit, sorry. So I have a triangle, it's clearly fully locked up, he's postured. A quick switch, okay? Usually guys, don't do this prematurely. So, especially if he buries his arm and my triangle is poorly locked up. To be honest with you, if I could put my outside foot on his hip, I would stay with a triangle. But he knows this, so he's in danger. The onus is on him to start the defense. So I make it very difficult for him to rise up. As he's, stop for a second. I wouldn't hit it here because he's still blocking my hip. Can you turn a little bit so you can see the other way? Okay? So I would not switch because if I do, I will fail. So I wait for him to hit the yes. So as he's posturing up, he will remove that hand from my hip. He has to get this position. Once he does, his arm is fully extended, and also the elbow comes off your hip so you can no longer control your side-to-side movement. One of the other questions on the arm locks, it's on the list, maybe Lucas Bedard or somebody said, do you have a favorite position for your feet from arm locks? Guys, feet positioning is very, very situation dependent. All right? There are instances where I will cross my feet There are instances where I will try to get my foot underneath Enrique's head. So it's very situation specific. Let's try to do how many possible arm locks can I come up with? All right, give me some of the looks like where I wind up with my foot under your head. All right, so let's start from the guard. All right. So if I hit Enrique for my guard, right now I don't really have I will just cross my feet because I'm trying to lock him up. If I bring it over, all right, now my feet are just, you know, what most people think of traditional foot positioning. Now Enrique starts to spit out. I'm switching. All right, that didn't wind up in an arm lock. So let me get Tommy, for example, is another one. So when he strips yes, this is what I'm talking about. So my foot goes on his neck. So even if he doesn't roll through, I will keep my foot behind his head. I will actually help him sit up, and then we sit up. So guys, look at this. This doesn't look like a good arm lock, yet it is. Why is that? We talked about those concepts yesterday. Fulcrum, my left inner thigh. Look at the grip. This is a very strong grip. Look, my own hands. In MMA, I could be, is that allowed? I'm just kidding. So my hands, guys, are occupied with other things. All right? So tune into yesterday's episode for some of the concepts, grips, and so forth. One of the most important things we talked about yesterday, when you're arm locking people, you don't want to use both hands. It's rare that I will use both hands. Only if I need to switch direction or an angle of his arm and my attack quickly. Otherwise, I will grip with one, and sometimes, look, man, no hands. All right? I hope that answers the question, Mike. What do we got?
We got from YouTube, Ryan D'Souza. Hi, Fox. I've been trying to play split guard lately. In no-gi, I found that bigger guys rip their arm out when I try to set up split guard. Do you have any suggestions for setups? Thank you so much.
Yes. Very good question. So, a guy, if you hit him with a split guard, if somebody's strong and big, if you set this up properly, it should not be, it'd be almost impossible for them to rip their arm out. What they should be able to do is, only one possible scenario is just turn rapidly away, all right, which opens up a lot of omoplata attacks. So first, in no-gi, a lot of times what I'll try to do is sit up, and I'm feeding their arms with my legs too. So right now, as soon as I get his arm off my torso, so if it's in front of me, he's controlling my legs. I'm trying to get his arms off, okay? So as soon as I do, guys, I'll keep this tight. This is my foot can float, but this is the only possible escape, all right? I'm gonna turn quarter turn so you guys can see Enrique's face. Even though I'm not using a lot of strength, a lot of power, what I'm trying to do is actually just hold on, and basically his arm is wedged between my torso and my leg, to the point where basically the tension is so tight so that he has no choice other than to turn away. If he tries to come in, it actually starts to hurt. Once you can have a training partner, you might want to experiment with that just to when you do this, just to get to this position. So Enrique is trying to pass my guard. As soon as his hand slips off, either my legs, my hips, my torso, wherever it is, done. Once I do this, now tap. Can you please? Tap. So his arm is very isolated, it's wedged, and I'm constantly applying pressure to the, oh, can you come back? I know you're trying to escape from the pain, but, so guys, here is, the fulcrum is my inner thigh, my upper body, so my inner thigh is pushing to my right, and my upper body slightly to the left. All right? Now, the only way, the more he yanks out, the more, so he stretches out his arm, the more painful it becomes. This is the only way to alleviate the pain. And he's got to do it fast enough before he gets nailed with the straight arm lock. So if I do this kind of live, no, make me. If I do this live, he didn't have time. Now, we have omoplata pecs, okay? Guys, I spend literally probably an hour and a half filming with Firas on omoplata, so I don't want to spend too much time on that. Look at that video, it's on YouTube. What else do we have? What other questions do we have?
We have Pap. Hi, Fox on YouTube. Hi, Fox. You said that the high elbow guillotine hurts your wrist. Can you explain how so? I'm trying to master different guillotines and wonder on the longevity of using high elbow as my main weapon.
High elbow guillotine, if you can take it, is a great weapon. Matt Serra popularized it. Marcelo Garcia popularized it. Gary Tonin is amazing with it. So for me, this grip is, I prefer to grab my fingers, all right, because it gives me some. But if I do this, it already hurts, guys. All right, so I can't. For me, this already hurts. Now, if I actually do this and Enrique rolls, I might be cowhanding myself as we're going through this motion. So I generally, unless I know I can stop him from rolling, I generally stay away from it. The other thing so guys, almost any technique done correctly has its benefits and it has its demerits. So just sit down on your knees so they can see. For a high elbow guillotine, I need to go really deep. All right, for my guillotine, I go shallow. So, it's a lot harder on an elite guy. It's not impossible, like I said, Gary's demonstrated that, time and time over again. But on a high level guy, to get a high elbow guillotine, you have to go deep. It's got better finishing power than sort of the shallow guillotine I use. But also it takes just that to as soon as most guys that kind of know guillotines, immediately their hands go to their neck. All right. With the shallow one, it's that split second quicker that comes in that allows me to apply the technique and then either finish with that or follow up into sort of follow-up submissions like Anaconda. So I hope that answers your question.
And Byron Lowe on YouTube asked, hey, Karel, could you go over finishing Kimura from top of half guard?
Top of half guard. I can, and I will. However, understand, guys, if you look at my game, my specialties are guillotine, arm locks, knee bars, inverted reverse triangles, and associated sort of attacks. Omoplata, that's another one. Kimura is not a huge weapon for me, but if I'm on top of half guard, and I have a Kimura, so if Enrique defends successfully, if he can keep his arm in front of his body, this is going to be hard for me. If I can put his hand on the floor, now I know I have it. Okay, if I can bring his hand behind his back. Oh shit. All right. So if I can put his hand behind, I will finish. At this point, even if he rolls up on top of me, I can just. You don't have to do it yourself. Let me at least make you do it. All right, guys, we might have technical difficulties. It looks like Enrique's left shoulder is too weak, so let's try to switch to the right one to see if that's any better. So again, if I can bring his hand behind, I can finish, all right? If he tries to come up, I just gotta make sure that his hand does not go in front of his torso, all right? If his there's still some options you could do, but now you're allowing a stronger guy to sort of start to apply, you know, his strengths, holding on and trying to improve his position to the point where this may no longer be useful for you. So make sure his hand stays behind. So even if Enrique goes on top, I can always just reverse him, and in that process, come out of his half guard and finish on top. All right, so all right, Mike, you got to stop shaking the tree of.
And on YouTube, Dollar Bill asked, defense against the lockdown.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one, guys. So we have about 5 minutes. So we'll finish with that. Guys, I hate the lockdown, aka electric chair, aka scorpion. All right? This is one of those techniques that I will use it every once in a while, but I go to it extremely, extremely rarely. And I'm prepared to disengage at any point in time. All right? The reason for that is I've seen guys win advanced divisions in pretty big tournaments using nothing but lockdown, basically just using it as a sweep. But I've also seen, and you know, maybe they have 4 matches and every single one of them goes the same way. Lockdown, you know, rock back and forth, sweep, get your points, done. And then just hold. But I've also seen people blow their own knee doing it, or blowing their opponent's knee who's trying to escape from it. So let's look at a couple of different lockdown. So the minute, first of all, guys, prevention. Okay, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So think about it, especially in today's environment. All right. So anytime I'm in half guard, I will sweep my leg back. That's probably the most important thing. All right? So as soon as I get into half guard, I take it away. If I have a guy that I know likes to do a lockdown, I will actually lock my foot and then pass the guard. All right? We can go over that tomorrow. We don't have enough time for today. So first, but now if that's applied, guys, first thing I'll do is I'll try to square up with my hands on him. And now I will confirm his grip. Try to sit up. I can't. Guys, this would be actually an amazing thing in MMA because as the guy tries to sit up, it's like one of those feedbacks. All right? He can't get at, he can't do anything. And I start to lean back, tap, he will tap. Okay? So let's look at it again. So I made a mistake. Keep my, guys, first thing, this. But you made a mistake. Oh, you didn't lock it. As soon as you feel it, lock it up, guys. Once I feel lock it up, I will flex my right ankle just to keep the lock up. Most important thing is for me to be able to posture up. And now, he literally cannot unravel himself. Tap. All right, so guys, the submission is keep your foot flat and slow. Watch, my shin is, so slowly moving my shin, tap. Some guys have a little bit different pain tolerance, but basically, this is why I don't like lockdown. All right, so from grappling scenario, guys, there's a few others in between, depending on the threat level, but if you cannot, so lock me down. Guys, if you cannot, so go under, yeah. So as the guy's rocking me, Guys, if you stop, you will not, usually it's too late. You don't feel the pressure until it's too late. So guys, if you, in lockdown, let him sweep you, okay? And then deal with the position after. It's a lot better than having your knee blown. All right, guys? I think we're just about out of time. For now, we're trying to keep it to half an hour on a daily basis. Tune in tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Keep your circle of contact small, guys, 5 to 6 feet, and stay well.